Andrew Dillon, the Chief Executive of the AFL, has been good enough to join us. Andrew, as we welcome you to 3AW, I had a bite to eat at the beautiful Sandringham Football Club yesterday. When we pushed the plates back, there was a few ex-AFL players there, a lot of VAFA luminaries as well. Roundtable discussion about what's the biggest issue in football at the moment, and we couldn't reach consensus, so I throw it to you, the boss. What's the biggest issue in footy at the moment?
Well, I think we're in a position at the moment where the game's in really good shape. I think the rule changes, albeit on a small sample size, starting to take effect. But I think for us, it's just continuing to make sure that we've got a game that is accessible, affordable, and it's a game that the fans want to come and watch. And that's the number one thing that we're focused on at the AFL is making sure that we've got great footy. It works for the fans, and at the moment, and we're making decisions that secure the future of the game.
Andrew, a tough year last year within your organisation, a lot of change. You've shown you've got appetite for more change going into this year, particularly with the rules and other stuff we'll touch on in a minute. How long are you personally planning on staying in the job?
Oh, Caroline, I haven't got a fixed view on that. I think ultimately my position at the AFL is decided by others other than me. But I think there's plenty of opportunities and lots that I want to do to continue to grow the game. And it's a privileged role that I've got, and I'm really enjoying it. It has its challenges, but I think it's as I said before, it's a privileged position, and it's not one that I take lightly.
So no game plan for you internally about how long you think you might do the job?
No, I just want to continue to do the best that I can with the experience that I've got in the game, and I think I've got plenty to add. But I've got an amazing team that I'm working with. Within the AFL, and also with the clubs who are set up, and as I said, we're really focusing on delivering the best footy that we can for the fans, making sure that the fans are at the forefront of what we're doing, but at the same time having an eye to the future and making sure that AFL continues to be Australia's game.
I'll take you back to last Thursday night and the Bondi tribute at the SCG. The Swans told me at the time that there was some discomfort from the AFL about having the tribute at all. They wanted to have it, they insisted on having it, and that you guys had wanted to have a big say on how it was done. Is it correct that the AFL had the word Jewish removed from the script pre-game, as was reported last night by Jared Healy?
So what I'll start with, Caroline, is that the events of Bondi in December last year were an horrific anti-Semitic attack on the Jewish community and completely at odds with Australian way of life and values. So I'll start with that. We, with the Swans, thought that would prefer not to be doing it, but actually to have the appropriate forum and the appropriate stage was the opening game of the season at the SCG in front of 40,000 people and over 1 million people on TV to pay tribute to the Jewish victims of the Bondi massacre.
Absolutely applaud all of that.
And their families.
But why did you change the script?
My understanding is there was a script. I don't know what happened with the script, but what I do know is that it was a fitting tribute on the right stage for what was, as I said before, an horrific anti-Semitic attack on the Jewish community.
So you're not denying the script was changed, you just don't know who changed it?
I didn't see the script. I was on the field as part of that, and I thought Matthew did a great job of hosting that, what was an appropriate tribute to the victims of what was an horrific attack on the Jewish community.
So shouldn't you try and find out? It just seems a strange thing to do.
As I said, I think the tribute was exactly the right forum in front of 40,000 people, over 1 million people on the TV, and we worked with the Swans on it. And again, the feedback that we've got, not that it's about the feedback, was overwhelmingly positive.
I'll move briefly to the Hawthorn Football Club and the revelations this week about 2 footballers overseas. What role did the AFL play in having the drug paraphernalia charges dropped?
Oh, yeah, well, absolutely none. We were aware of the incident. There's legal processes which are still going on, and we've been working with the Hawthorn Footy Club, but it was at a level where the AFL felt that the Hawthorn Footy Club had handled that those incidents in the correct way.
So with the new drugs code that's just been reached in mind, will Dylan Moore be target tested as a result of that report that we've now got from the police in the US?
Well, every single player, as they have been, will be hair tested, and under the new code, every single player will continue to be hair tested. The difference now is that the hair tests will actually have, rather than being used for background, they will be actually where there'll be consequences for the positive hair test. So every single player. So there won't be a need to target because every single player will be hair tested.
Grand final start time. You were talking to Tom Elliott on 3AW Mornings yesterday, and to paraphrase, I think you said,
Bruce, can we just listen to what Andrew said on the day he was appointed to this job when he was asked about this by Gerard Whateley?
What's the best starting time for the grand final?
Fast money, best time, 2:30.
So what's changed?
Well,
because clearly there's an appetite for change.
I think what there's an appetite is for us to continue to assess what's best for the footy, what do our fans want, and what's actually best for the future of the game. And that's the focus that we've got, and that's why the grand final start time, there is a lot of, absolutely a lot of interest in it. And so we want to make sure that we continue to be progressive. Now, I'm not forecasting where it goes or where it doesn't go, but what we will do is we'll speak to our fans, get an understanding from that. We did that last year.
Every poll we see from the fans, it usually sits somewhere between 80 and 90% want it to stay 2:30, bright sunshine, red Sharon.
That might be 3AW fans who are of a certain demographic who live in Melbourne. We're a national game and a national code, and we spoke to our fans last year, and there or thereabouts, it's about a third on whether you go day, night or twilight. But it does depend on how old you are and where you live. So we will continue to do that. And ultimately, as I said before, we'll make the decision that's based on what's best for the footy, what's best for the fans, what's best for the future of the game.
In that debate, what's the advantage of playing later in the day, twilight or... I mean, okay,
yeah.
We know they might get 1 million more viewers. Is there a financial consequence of that? Or what else is the proponents? What else do you get out of it?
Well, I think ultimately it's the decision is, there's more TV sets on, but that's one factor that's taken into account. It's we play the majority of our big games are Thursday night or Friday night games, or Saturday night. So a lot of the big games during the year are played at night. All of our finals are played at night, probably other than a Saturday prelim, which is a twilight game. But again, as I said, there's the three factors that we take into account, and so there's pros and cons of them all. But tradition is really important as well, but so is progression.
And so we sit here again, season started, and the greatest thing our game produces, we still don't have certainty on it. It's just disappointing that this debate happens every year and there's no certain position.
Yeah, I think it's something that we take really seriously, and we want to make sure that we get to the right result.
One thing's certain, if you change it to go later, I bet you never go back.
Well,
so it is a big decision, isn't it? Once you change,
absolutely.
It's an enormous decision to change the status quo.
It absolutely, but I don't think any change is always set in stone, and I think you can see, we might talk about it, soon, that our rules, and they continue to evolve. But absolutely, it's it is a big decision, and the grand final means a lot to a lot of people. I've been to, I'm fortunate, from Melbourne, I've been to nearly 50 grand finals. But I have been to a twilight one, and I've been to a night one because I was fortunate enough to go to the COVID ones, and they were great grand finals, as have all the other ones been at the G.
You might mention weather when I ask you this question about 2 night games we've just seen, but the cheapest ticket to the MCG on Thursday and Friday night was $60. The Richmond Carlton crowd, I think, was the lowest since 2022. And last night, only 71,000, which I thought was vaguely disappointing as well. These fully ticketed games, now, was that a mistake in hindsight? Was it too expensive to get to the footy for some people last night and on Thursday night?
I think, I'll start with a couple of things. We've had 3 games in a row at the G, and we've had 82,000, 74,000 and 71,000, give or take. So incredible crowds.
But lower than expected.
But not Sunday night, but certainly Thursday and Friday were a little bit down on what we were expecting. So what we will do is analyse where the people who we were expected to come didn't come from. So were they MCC members or AFL members who actually got a free ticket to come in? Were they club members who didn't come, or is it the fully ticketed and that extra cost? And that's something that we're absolutely cognizant of. We want to make sure that our game is accessible and affordable, because it is a game for everyone. Like, to fill stadiums like the MCG to the extent that we do, we have to make sure that we've got the right price point. So
you might revisit that decision.
We will absolutely be, like we do every round, we'll be reviewing the crowds and where they came from. And if we didn't meet forecast, what's the reason for that?
So last year, Andrew, you went and visited Bailey Smith and spoke to him about how important he could be for the game. I think some people thought it was a great thing to do. Other people thought you were kowtowing to a star footballer. Since then, he's lost his licence. He's abused a female photographer and been forced to apologise. He single-handedly ended what was a great Geelong tradition in Mad Monday by his behaviour. Looking back, was that the right decision, and did it have any effect at all?
Look, again, you don't know. I think it was, at the time, it was absolutely the right thing to do, and I'd do it again, because I think, and not individualising on him, but I think what we have to do as well is celebrate the stars of our game and make sure, and what the idea of going down there was just to remind him of the privileged position he's in, and not the responsibilities, but the opportunities that are in front of him.
So are you disappointed in his behaviour since?
Oh, to be honest, I don't
Geelong
spend a lot of time.
have received a please explain at some point from the AFL.
Oh, well, yeah. I think Bailey's, he adds a lot to the game, but like all of our players, I think there's things that maybe you do that you might do differently, and I think he's no different in that respect.
Do you intend on paying him another visit or giving him a call?
Oh, look, I don't think I need to at the moment. I think he's got plenty going on in front of him, and again, I think that was the right thing to do at that time. I don't think I'd necessarily have to make a habit of it.
Former Carlton president Luke Sayers is currently being sued by his ex-wife for defamation and breach of confidence. The AFL's integrity unit cleared Luke of any wrongdoing. Are you satisfied that the investigation was thorough enough?
Absolutely.
So is it hard? Is it tarnished, the integrity process?
No.
The stuff that's come out since?
No, not at all.
And is it tarnished your new corporate communications boss?
No, not at all.
Sharon
I think
McCrone, who was the spin doctor for Luke Sayers at the time.
Again, I mean, Luke and Kate are going through whatever they are, and there's a court process going on, but I'll absolutely stand by the integrity investigation. And at the moment, ultimately, Luke's no longer the Carlton president, so he's not under the purview of the AFL.
Can I ask you about one of your pillars, which is important? Excuse me, the equalisation pillar.
Yep.
Like the uneven club distributions seem to be locked in for almost ever. It's hard to think clubs are going to get the same distribution and be able to survive financially. Just tick one. But the on-field part of it, really. I mean, the spectacle's looking great, but in terms of just the want, and it's been said, for clubs to be able to have their time up the top. They might have their time down the bottom, but they have the time up the top. But just the whole equalisation looks a little bit shaky at the moment.
Yeah.
Like 18 teams, all similar.
Yeah, I mean, I think
happening.
No, and I don't think that's ever been. And the reality is, we've got since GWS came in, we've got an 18-team competition, and someone needs to finish down the bottom. And I think we only have to go back, I think it is 10 years, Leigh, where you had the Brisbane Lions, who were languishing at the bottom and had for a long time. And it's hard, it's amazing to think where where the Lions are now. You only have to look at the top 8 from last year, where we had Adelaide go from 15th to be top after the home and away. You had Gold Coast make the finals for the first time ever. You had Fremantle make the finals for only the second time in about 10 years. So you had 4 teams come in, 4 teams go out. You go back to round 5 or round 6, 2024, and the Hawks were near the bottom of the ladder and hadn't won a game, and they went on a roll. So it is something, though. On-field equalisation is something that we are continually watching. It's perpetual, and we are now we've been working with the clubs. Had a commission meeting last week where there will be continued tightening in relation to access for the draft, in relation to father-sons, MGAs and Northern Academies.
Poor old Hawksies have had it tough, haven't they? Those years down the bottom, or those long years.
It's a long
Andrew, heavily reported by the Herald Sun. I've got to ask you about this. Was it your decision to exit Jude Donnelly, or was it Richard Goyder's decision, as was reported by that newspaper?
Kel, I've been asked about this before, but I'm not going to go into the comings and goings at AFL House. I don't think it's, this isn't the right forum. It's, we have people come into the AFL and they leave the AFL all the time. The game continues to go on. But
you were targeted quite specifically in those stories about your emotions at the time and whose decision it was, etc. Were you disappointed in the reporting in that case?
As I said, I'm not going to go. We have people leave the AFL all the time. We have people start at the AFL all the time. It's not a topic that I'm going to go into.
Andrew, as we let you go, unless
you've got to ask him about Tom Lynch's goal kicking.
Well, something a little more important.
I'm sure he's got an opinion on that.
they were all straight. They just didn't go where I think he wanted them to.
They were a long way out and very wide, too, guys. So, as we let you go, unless they play an opening round, it is 2 years away this weekend that Tasmania will play their first game in the AFL. We still haven't had a sod turn for a new stadium. How is everything looking down there?
Look, I think it's the planning permission that was granted just before Christmas is sort of the green light for everything to go ahead. So the Tassie government are out talking to builders now. There'll be contracts signed, at some stage during this year. There is work on the site at the moment. Pre-works are going on. So we'll have a new stadium, whether it's in time for the 2030 or 31 season. In the meantime...
so their first couple of seasons, they're going to be playing
They'll play at Bellerive and also up at Launceston. Launceston Stadium's undergoing a $130 million renovation at the moment. Incredible stadium. Bellerive will work for a couple of years, but then there'll be the new stadium on the horizon. The Devils play their first game in the VFL next Saturday at North Hobart Oval against Coburg. It's already a sellout, 12,000 people. We're trying to get the capacity increased because there's so much interest. One of the great things, with the VFL competition, we're going to have the match of the day on ABC, which is a bit of back to the future there. Channel 7 are going to televise all Tassie Devils home games, and also Foxtel and Kayo are going to stream up to 20 VFL games during the year. So there's going to be plenty of footy for everyone.
Andrew, thanks for spending so much time with us today. We look forward to catching up with you again regularly throughout the season.
Thanks for having me on. See you guys.
Thanks, Andrew.